Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today we're breaking down one of the most iconic men's fragrance lines of all time, Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male. I'm going to be going over pretty much every single Le Male fragrance that you can find nowadays at retailers or discounters. I'll be giving you the prices that you can expect to pay, at least as of this video. I'll be giving you note breakdowns, how each one of these fragrances smells, and I'll let you know what each one of these may be better suited for. That way you can figure out which one might work best for you. All of these are going to be linked in the description below, so feel free to check them out down there. Let's jump straight into it with the original Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male. I've got an overly large size bottle of this fragrance. Most of the time when you're shopping for a Le Male, they're going to be between 75 mils and 120 mils in size. And in terms of ounces, that's 2.5 or 4.2 respectively. So I'm going to be giving you those two sizes in terms of the prices for each one of these fragrances that we talk about, just to kind of keep everything apples to apples. Because some of them you can find in larger sizes or smaller sizes, but those aren't really the standard sizes. As of this video at discounters, this one is going to range between mid-50s to about $80 or so. So that's mid-50s for the smaller size, about 80 for the larger. And you can find this larger size, which is 200 mils at some discounters, for just a tick over what the 4.2 ounce size goes for. So if you really want a big one, you can get one for just a little bit above that $80 range. And of course, it also depends which discounter you shop at. So you can shop around and maybe find a price that's a little bit lower than what I gave you. And also you might find it a little bit higher depending on where you're looking. And that goes for all of these. Full retail wise, it is $98 and $124 US. This one has a fairly robust note breakdown, at least compared to most modern fragrances. A lot of those only have 3 notes. Some of the main ones that you're going to pick up from this fragrance are lavender, mint, and vanilla. That's not all that's in here though. There's also additional citrus, there's cinnamon, there's orange blossom, there's tonka, amber, sandalwood, and cedar. So like I said, a decent amount going on, but really the main things you want to focus on with this fragrance are that lavender, mint, and vanilla. Those are the things that really make Le Male Le Male. This one came out in 1995, so a whole 30 years ago, at least as of when I'm filming this video here today. So a lot of people would think of this as a straight up classic fragrance, not even a modern classic anymore. It's a mix of fresh, clean, and sweet. The vanilla comes across a little bit powdery, so do be aware of that. It's super easy to wear. You can pull it off pretty much year round, daytime or nighttime. And actually nowadays, it smells fairly unique. Now when it came out, it was pretty much everywhere. Everybody was wearing it, super popular. Like I said, really versatile, big compliment puller, good performance, so there's a reason people were wearing it. But since it's been out for 30 years, it's not getting worn quite as much as it used to, which makes it a little bit of a sleeper, at least as much as a fragrance that's been this big can be. It also comes across as like a semi-barbershop vanilla fragrance to an extent. So it has a nice, like, classy edge to it. It's not just a straight up sweet bomb, though it is decently sweet. And for sure with this one, some people are going to think that it smells a little bit dated just because it has been around for 30 years and fragrances have changed and morphed a lot over that time period. That being said, it still works really well, still a solid compliment puller, and you do get the occasional fragrance that comes out from time to time that will borrow from this one and you can tell is inspired by it. For example, Luna Rosa Sport by Prada. So I would definitely say check this one out if you're interested. Go into a store, pretty much any fragrance store should have this and you can spray it on and test it out. Much younger guys may not go for it quite as much as some of the other fragrances that have come after it, but it still works really well, it still performs, and it's one of the most affordable in the whole line. Now there are a bunch of discontinued fragrances that I'm not going to talk about in today's video because they're really hard to find unless you go onto eBay and pay jacked up prices. And some of those prices right now on eBay are ranging $200 to like $500. It's insane. And another issue that you have with eBay is it is rampant with fake fragrances. There are crazy amounts on there. So if you see a discontinued Le Male fragrance that's normally going for $400, $500 and somebody has it for 40, that's a fake. So some of those scents that I'm not talking about because of that reason, Le Male Eau Fraiche, which is really good if you can find one, Le Male in the Navy, Le Male On Board, Le Male Aviator, Le Male Essence de Parfum, Fleur du Mal, and also the summer editions, of which there were many. The next one we're gonna talk about is extremely popular. It is Ultramal. So this one came out in 2015, 20 years after this one. And like I just said, there were a lot of fragrances in between this one and this one, but most of those are close to impossible to find. With this one, for the most part, 125 mil is the size that you're gonna find. 75 mil is not very common with this one, especially nowadays. And at discounters, a 125 mil, you're looking at mid 90s, possibly high 90s, depending on where you're looking. And full retail, $125 for 125 mils. And I just now realized I said 120 mils earlier for that one, didn't I? I meant 125, 4.2, the 0.2 is the 5. Ah! Oh well, I'm not redoing it. So yeah, 4.2 ounces is 125 mils, sorry. So in terms of the note breakdown, this one does have a lot of similarities with the original Lamal. One of the big differences is pear off the top, which gives it an interesting fruity sweetness when you first spray it on. It also has lavender and mint once again, along with vanilla, cinnamon, amber, and cedar, along with bergamot as well. So you've got a lot of notes that are the same in here compared to the original, which is something you see used across this line with some regularity. Notes that are the same, they just change them. So they'll dial some up and pull some down. So similar note breakdown, similar overall structure, but smells different. This one right here gets pigeonholed as a club fragrance, but it's not just that. You can wear this really in fall, winter, or spring, daytime or evening, but it does work really well as a night out fragrance because it is very sweet and attention grabbing. It's got strong performance, but it has enough freshness in there that it does help balance out that sweetness just a little bit. The pear that I mentioned is very addictive off the top, so is the black vanilla as it dries down. It's not as powdery as the original, but with that sweetness that it does have, it gives off kind of like a bubble gum vibe to it, the way the sweetness comes across. So that does mean it has a little bit of a youthful lean to it. I think middle-aged guys and younger can pull this off very easily, but if you're older, you do have to enjoy that kind of bubblegum sweet fragrance style. If you don't, you're not gonna like this. There are also some other cheaper alternatives, cheaper clones out there that you could get that smell similar to this one. Most popular of those, Off and On 9 PM, and Lattafa Ram's Silver. Still, this compliment monster and really, really, really good. Now, as I said, I'm mentioning the discounter prices, the retailer prices. If you shop at discounters, you can save even more money by using some of these codes that I have right here. So these discounters cover pretty much everything: designer fragrances, niche fragrances, and also clone fragrances. So Gift Express, Maple, Prime, Frag Flex, the Perfume Box, JOMASHOP, Max Aroma, you can use these codes at those websites and save yourself some money. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the JOMASHOP app. All the others work as normal on the website, whether you're on the PC, on your phone, or whatever. The next fragrance we're tackling is Lal Lover. Now, this one is a limited edition release. And as of when I'm filming this, you can't really find this at retail, just discounters. And at discounters, it's about 140 bucks. So that price has gone up, and that's because this is going to be more difficult to find as time goes on. Realistically, if you're watching this like a year from now, it's probably already really, really hard to find. The note breakdown is decidedly different from the other fragrances we've talked about so far. So this one has pepper and finger lime off the top, or caviar lime, depending on where you look. There's also ambergris, sea notes, musk, woods, and vanilla. So looking at that note breakdown, really the only thing that jumps out that's similar to these is that vanilla. It also has kind of a coconutty scent profile to it, even though that's not one of the official notes. So it's got this like light sunscreen kind of vibe to it. Some of that fruity sweetness in there as well. Very clean, almost clean clothing-esque. Also a bit powdery as well, but really easy to wear, extremely versatile. So when this first came out, people were a little bit underwhelmed. They were wanting something that had a little more push to it in terms of just being immediately attention grabbing. But this one is instead a little more laid back, a little bit more chill, but it does that really well. Like I said, versatility, fantastic. Wear it whenever you want, daytime, nighttime, all year long. It has a nice fresh, sweet combo to it. The coconutty kind of feel with the finger lime in there is pretty intriguing. People do like it. It's a little bit simple in the way that it comes across. It's not something that's like trying to be overly complex. It's just trying to be a versatile, everyday type scent. And that's what it is. Now to a huge one, Lal Parfam. So this one at discounter is about 80 bucks to 125. That's what you're looking at for the two sizes, the two main sizes. At retail, 115 to 146. So discounted a little bit at most discounters, but not a massive discount. In terms of notes, this one does go a little bit different, and it is simplified a little bit compared to some of the others over here. So it has off the top cardamom, then as it dries, iris, lavender, vanilla, and woods. So it's another vanilla forward Lamal, and another one that is a little bit powdery, but this one is definitely deeper, richer, more of an evening fragrance, more of a fall and wintertime fragrance when you compare it to the original. It is more elegant, has more of an emphasis on the warm spices in here, and the iris really just ramps up the sophistication of the fragrance while maintaining its wearability and its compliment factor. This one is one of the more popular fall and wintertime fragrances out there, period, as far as designers go right now, and I think it is an excellent release. Absolutely fantastic. Performance very good as well. And just to my own personal taste, I do like this one more than the original. It's not necessarily apples to apples with these two because they would be used in different times and situations, but I just really love what they did with this one, and this one works for pretty much anybody in terms of age. And then after that was Lal Elixir. Very different looking bottle, but the fragrance actually fairly similar to what came before it. And the price range is a little bit weird too, because this one, at least as of now, mid-80s for the smaller size bottle and around 105 for the larger size. So for the smaller size, they're pretty similar, but then the larger size, again, at least as of right this minute, this one is cheaper than this one. Whereas at retail, this is more expensive, 126 to 160. In terms of notes, it does throw back some of those to the original Lamal. So you've got lavender and mint off the top. There's also vanilla, benzoin, honey, tonka, and tobacco as it dries. This one has a deep sweetness to it, especially from that honey tonka vanilla combination. Really sweet, rich, deep, bold, and it does have more sweetness to it than Lal Parfam does. It's also, to me, a little bit less powdery as well. Now that being said, it is similar to Lal Parfam. So if you spray these on side by side, you can definitely tell that this is like a tweak, an evolution, a change from this, but they are still quite similar. So for some people, it's going to be redundant to own this if you own this, and vice versa. But if you really love the line, they are different enough that you can own both of them. And even though I really love Lal Parfam, to my own taste, Elixir is just a touch better. But that really is depending on who you ask. You'll find just as many people that like this one more than this one. Also, more of a fall wintertime fragrance, daytime or evening, and good performance as well. And the newest one in the Lamal line as of this video is Elixir Absolute, which looks pretty much the same other than it's not see-through. So yeah. At discounters, 100 to 125 bucks. That's the range for this one. And at retail, 140 to 175. So the most expensive so far. The note breakdown actually has a decent amount of notes. There's plum in here off the top, which is going to be one of the more interesting features of the fragrance. It's also got cardamom, cinnamon, bergamot, lavender, tonka, benzoin, ambrette, and patchouli, along with a little bit of labdanum. So a lot of those notes it shares with some of these other fragrances that came out before it. And if you're wondering, is it similar to Lal Elixir? Because this is Elixir Absolute. Yes, it is. One of the main differences is that plum that I mentioned. It gives this one a fruity type of sweetness when you first spray it on, like a deep fruity sweetness, but still fruity in a way that Elixir is not. And I'd say overall, if you're comparing the sweetness of this to that, this one is actually slightly less sweet overall with the entirety of the fragrance compared to the original, because it doesn't really have that sticky honey kind of going over a lot of the other notes. Performance really good with Elixir Absolute, but it does have kind of the same issue that we talked about here, where for a lot of people, this is going to be redundant if you own this. And out of all of these fragrances, it probably makes sense, but these two are the most similar. That being said, the scent on its own does smell very, very good, and it's another one that's more for fall, winter, daytime or evening. Le Beau Eau de Toilette is up next, so we're gonna do the 4 Le Beau fragrances, and this one right here, very easy to find at discounters. About 90 to 108 is what you're gonna be looking at for that price range at discounters. At retail, obviously a little bit more, 103 to 130 if you're looking at full retail like Macy's, Sephora, Ulta. In terms of the note breakdown, bergamot, coconut, and tonka. So yeah, it's one of those fragrances where they just give you a few notes. They do that a lot, Jean Paul Gaultier, but more so with their Scandal line than the Lamal line. So this one is very creamy, fresh, sweet, has a bit of a tropical feel to it. Really versatile, easy to use, spring, summer, fall. You could pull it off winter, but I'd probably reach for something else. More of a daytime fragrance than evening. Big compliment puller. And it is a popular DNA that has kind of started to be copied by some other cheaper designer brands out there, and also some clone brands as well. And even though it is a fresher fragrance that you can wear during summer, it is also decently sweet as well. But frankly, that's what works best for compliment pulling fragrances most of the time, having some freshness and sweetness in there together, and that's what this one does. Lal Parfam is next up. This one's sometimes more difficult to find at discounters as of now than the Eau de Toilette. And the price reflects that. At discounters, you're looking at about 100 to 125 depending on size. But at full retail, it is more than that. It's 120 to 153. And for a while at discounters, it was pretty much full retail. So that price at discounters that it's at now is actually better than it used to be. Note breakdown wise, they give you more with the Lal Parfum than the original. So you have in here pineapple, ginger, iris, and cypress off the top, along with that coconut and woods. Then you have tonka, sandalwood, amber, and ambergris as it dries down. So the main things here are going to be that pineapple off the top, again, tropical, sweet, a little bit fresh. The coconut is also a little heavier here when compared to the original Labo. The iris in here adds a really nice touch and depth to the fragrance. It's not lipsticky like in Dior Homme or something like that. And a lot of people will wear this during the summer, but for me, it's not really a great summer reach when it's super hot out because it is kind of heavy. Like, it's got great performance, it lasts a long time. So if you wear it when it's really hot, it can come across cloying and a little bit off-putting. So for me, it's more like spring, fall, winter, actually. I know a lot of people, again, are gonna say this is more summertime, daytime, but for me, during summer, it'd be during the evening pretty much only, and I would wear one of the other Labos in the middle of summer during the day. Probably like this one, actually. Paradise Garden, I would wear in summer over this. So in terms of the range here, about 90 bucks to 130. Yeah, kind of a weird range there, right? Like on the smaller side, it's cheaper than this one, and then on the bigger side, it's more expensive, but yeah. Sometimes those will fluctuate, by the way, and that goes for all of these, the prices. Full retail, 115 to 146 is what you're looking at. In terms of the notes, this one has ginger, it has mint, aquatic notes, additional green notes, coconut once again, fig, tonka, and sandalwood, along with kind of a salty, sea salty vibe. So this one is definitely the zingier of the three that we've talked about so far. It's got a really nice pop when you first spray the fragrance on. It is obviously the greenest of the bunch, but in a really appealing way. It doesn't come across like overly aromatic and leafy, which a lot of people don't like. Instead, it's more of a sweetened up take on a green style of fragrance with those aquatic notes kind of cleaning everything up as well. Really, really, really good for spring and summer. During fall and winter, I'd probably go with one of the other ones, although early fall it would work as well, and it is a little more of a daytime scent. That being said, if you like it, wear it during the evening, who cares? And last up, Labo Flower Edition. So this is a limited release. I ordered my bottle from Europe. It's not readily available yet at discounters, and you can find it for $146 right now. So this is a limited edition, so be aware of that. It's possible that as time goes on, it becomes a little bit more difficult to find. And in terms of the note breakdown, it's also decently unique here. It's got kumquat and lemon off the top, violet and geranium in the mid, tonka, patchouli, cashmere in the base. And I know when a lot of people hear flower edition, they're thinking it's going to smell just like a ton of flowers, like a bouquet of flowers. And a lot of people don't like that if they're looking for a men's fragrance. And while there are floral notes in here, geranium and violet, it's not like crazy overdone. It doesn't come across super powdery or anything like that. It's very fresh, actually the freshest of the Labo fragrances, but also the weakest performance of the Labo fragrances. It's another one with a good amount of sweetness in there. The violet actually comes across green. A lot of times violet will come across that way. And the kumquat gives it an interesting little twist off the top. Again, sort of a tropical feel. That's kind of the vibe of all of these Labo fragrances, just a little bit different than the coconut, pineapple, the fig that the other ones have used. It is a solid fragrance. It smells really nice, but I would say if I were going to pick just one of these fragrances, it would come down to probably one of these two right here, and these two would be the first ones to go. But I like all four of these. It's just I think I would go fall, winter for this one, spring, summer for this one probably. That being said, this one right here, probably the most versatile of them all. If you're looking for one that can just do the most, it would be this one. And if you're looking for the freshest of them all, be that one. So there we go. That is the Labo lineup as of now. There's a rumor that later on this year, there's gonna be another Labo that joins the fray, but as of now, nothing announced. I know this video was long. I tried to give enough information for each one of these so that you kind of have an idea of what each one is about. If you've hung out with me here till the end, thank you so much for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.